Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, Vanity, Ezel back, Carpe Vanguard, Ezel on the Vanity weekly review. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't like, comment, subscribe, and let's go shall we? This time we're covering some new reveals from set 11. So we have the new Rorowa. Later this Thursday we are getting Vermilion, and then also today we have Robo Arms Spaceman from Brandgate from Youth Quake. I'm not gonna explain what the hell I just talked about. We'll see at the end of the video. So go and get the started, shall we, and see what we got for reveals, because we got a lot of good reveals, mainly for okay, but still a lot of good reveals all around. First up, we have, Bushy's new implementing strategy of implementing orders into every deck, which I'm now starting to question, why is Bushy doing this now? Because, there's 2 sets per season, and we have a guaranteed 9 seasons of Overdress, and there's always, 1 set in between each season. So that's, what, 18? So, it's already an 18 guaranteed set base, and then, we have, the every 1 in between. I'm not going to do the math on that, but, there's no more than 30 sets. Why are we now specifically starting to get into more order-based decks? Because we have Keter getting more normal order cards, and we have this Stoichea getting more Blitz orders, but whatever. Anyways, Invitational Sweet Honey, grade 2 Blitz order, still boss 1 to play it. 2 reviews, and it gets plus 15k onto battle, and then if there's a Blitz order in your drop zone, the Chosen gets 25k instead of 15. Okay, all around pretty solid, because that's just a fuck you to pretty much everything. It's a 38k base on drop, which is nice to have. I'm just questioning, why are we focusing so much on orders now? Are we going to get these new grade 3s that are going to be generic, that splash in with every order? Or is it a random thing Bushy's including into every deck now because they can and they will, because Brandcat already has that order gimmick? I don't know. But here's the support card that we can all assume came from the from Honey over here, and that would be Vayu Pristiner. Grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. I love how all of our Mega Colony actual cards that involve resting and paralyzing went to Mushish King, and then everything that is generic just went to them for some reason. Anyways, continues to be a guard during your turn. If you have 2 more Blitz orders in your drop zone, it gets plus 5k power. Great, so 13k base. And then auto when placed on rearguard circle, Karma Boss 1 search your deck or drop zone for up to 1 Invitational Sweet Honey. Reveal it to your opponent, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. Okay, I would love to see genuine lines built around this stuff, because that would be a great thing for, them to build a Mega Colony line on. Focus on dropping the opponent's power with a little bit of paralysis, use Sweet Honey to increase your own power, and then have this thing be a generic searcher for that. It's all around great, and it works generic. Its first skill works generically with literally any Blitz order, but I guess Bushy refuses to let us have actual ride lines for things that aren't crossovers. The 4 of you presenter in a deck that runs this thing, because why not? Then we have Hallucinatory Morpho. Oh, look at that! Another Mega Colony-based card that happens to work with Blitz orders. Grade 2, intercept, 5k shield, 10k base. Okay, her wings do look beautiful though, I just want to say that. And it was auto rear guard when this unit attacks into anything. If there's a Blitz order in your drop zone, soul boss 1 gets plus 10k from the battle. Great, so he's a free 20k swing into pretty much anything. And then auto rear guard, the end battle of this unit, in which this unit attacked a Vanguard. Karma boss 1 and bind her. Search your deck for up to 1 grade 2 or greater Blitz order that is not a Regalia piece. Reveal it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. And if your drop zone has a Blitz order, you may reveal a normal order for this effect instead of a Blitz. Okay, so either you get a free defense, okay, granted it's a Karma boss and a bind, but you get a defensive card from your deck, so deck thinning, but also if their drop zone has a Blitz order, you can just choose to get a normal order instead. I don't think it's a mandatory you can choose a normal order. You can choose to have a Blitz order instead, even if you do have a Blitz order and drop zone, but the fact that you can choose one of the two, Morpho is just great. The only bad thing about her, quote-unquote, is she doesn't get a Regalius piece, but even then, it's not really that bad, considering we just keep getting order and order searches. At this point, we're going to run into the point where we get a card that can search the Regalia pieces, and we have more than enough ways to search that card. So all around, Hallucinatory Morpho is just an amazing grade 2. It gets Blitz order pluses, it gets plussed off of Blitz orders, it searches deck. 4 of Bushy, please give us a Mega Colony ride line that isn't Mushi King, please. I beg of you. We literally have 3 good cards for this, and you won't give us it. Then we have Affectionate Hunter Matthias, or Matthias, one of the 2. Grade 2 instead 5k shield, 10k base, auto, and placed on rearguard circle from your hand. If you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard with Rorowa and its card name, literally the only ability part of this I've never used. Retire 2 of the rearguards, call 1 grade 2 or lower unit from your drops on rearguard. Okay, it's not a bad skill. It is kill 2 rearguards, technically get a Red Lena. I mean, you're not always forced to get a Red Lena from this, but you're most likely going to get a Red Lena from this. Here's the reason why I've never used that ability. The deck is consistent enough to where you can just pull out Red Lena without needing to, rely on that. But if you did need to rely on that, I can assure you there have been many games where I could have used this to fetch out one from drop zone if I needed to or wanted to, and I just chose not to. But also the fact I can get a grade 2 alone unit as well, so if you don't have a Red Lena or you don't need a Red Lena in that situation, you need something else, you can go fetch that, which is great too. And then auto front rear guard circle. At the start of your battle phase, if you have a unit with Momoka and the unit with Red Lena and their card names, you may call 1 plant token to rear guard. Okay, I hate the fact that this thing has to be specifically in front or rear guard circle, and you need 2 other units specifically just to get 1 plant token, but all around, it's not bad. It can fetch out one of your main playmakers from drop zone, and not to mention the fact it gets a free plant token that isn't necessarily mandatory. Granted, it's a little bit slow on that one, but it's not horrible either. So I think Matthias is just a solid grade 2, and I like his skill, and I like how his art just like has him being in the woodland creatures with a shotgun. So 4 of 3 of in my Rorowa deck. Speaking of Rorowa, we have a Viridescent Flash Rorowa. Okay, I gotta admit, biased towards this. We all know I originally thought he held an arrow, which made me even more biased because I really love arrows, but when I realized he was a sword, I kind of was disappointed until we saw Deer Days with the animation of Resent, and then I was like, oh my god, it's beautiful. And yeah, this is even more beautiful because like his thing just looks, I love the green texture on this, and his pants kind of make him look like Robin Hood or Peter Pan, one of the two, which I don't care for either of them, but it's just great. Anyways, Viridescent Flash Rorowa, also his name is just amazing. Grade 3 200 per star, 13k base, standard searches the fire regalias, and then auto when placed. Also, speaking of which, before we get on with that, when are we gonna get those? Because we've gotten regalias pieces, sure. What about fire regalias? Are we ever gonna speak to that, or is this just like a naming convention that Bushy just happened to forget about? Anyways, his skill, auto when he's placed on riding from a grade 3 unit for one's precious thing Rorowa in its card name, call 2 plant tokens to rearguard circle to end of your opponent's next turn. They get auto when this unit retire from rearguard circle, draw a card, and you activate a persona ride. Okay, all I'm gonna say is this. His ability does not require him to be placed by normal riding. So if you found a way to ride into for one's precious thing during that turn as a persona ride, and then you found a way to superior ride this thing, that is plus 20k to front row and a draw too. Just saying. But all around pretty solid skill. I love how his abilities like it requires the original but in a good way, because you know once you ride you still proc off the persona ride, and you get 2 plant tokens who can proc off of your effects of killing and get you draw 2, or if you want to keep them on the board, just to keep them on the board because maybe you can't kill them during your turn. If your opponent kills them by any means, regardless if it's by battle or card effects, you still get a free draw. So that's all around pretty great. And then auto vanguard circle, when he attacks into anyone, bind a for one's precious thing Rorowa from your soul, choose one of your glitter rear guards until end of turn. That unit and this unit both get plus 5k power, and this unit will get an extra critical for the turn. And at the end of the battle, at the end of your turn, ride the bound card for this card's effect as rest. So all around, pretty solid. It gets an extra crit guarantee. 2 units get plus 5k, himself and most likely a Momoke token. And then finally, you vert back to regular Roro, so you can still persona ride regular Roro next turn, or you can continue the loop of persona riding this on top of regular Roro. All around, a Viridescent Flash is amazing. I like how he just comes out of nowhere and then disappears, but he still strikes super hard. You know, the funny thing is, the second I started rewatching Inazuma 11 Chrono Stones, I started watching, I didn't start watching, this came out, and it reminds me of like one of the freaking 11th powers. I think it's the 6th one. A lightning paced striker who can make daring attacks and something else. But point is, Viridescent Flash reminds me of that perfectly, and I love his skill, being able to call plant tokens, get pluses off of their retires, and not to mention the fact is get extra crit and power, and just does everything I expect an evolution card to do. Easy 4 for me in a Rorowa deck. Then we have Defending Roar. Hey, Tachi support when Zero's dying, because, you know, Gaia never existed in Zero for some reason, even though we literally have his fucking Searcher in Zero. If you do not believe me, go into Zero, go look up cards you don't have in case you don't have it, and you will find fucking Prison Bird in there. You want to know how I know this? Because it's in my goddamn Tachis right now. Anyways, Defending Roar, grade 2 Blitz order, choose one of your Guardians without Sentinel, and at the end of battle it gets auto when this unit is retired from guard circle, put it to your hand, and then it gets plus 10k shield. I feel like they had to specify the without Sentinel part, because if they didn't, then that would just be your way to bounce Sentinels back to hand continuously, which is interesting, but cool. Being able to add 10k shield is nice, add a little bit more defensive power, and because it's literally any unit that isn't a Sentinel, that means it can be a grade 3, grade 2, grade 1, triggers, as long as it doesn't have Sentinel, easy 10k. So all around, nice card. I do like it a lot. I think it's great, and I like its art a lot. I wish that was a main grade 3, but it's not, sadly, so 2 of, I guess, in any deck that wants a Blitz order. Then we have Space-Time Soldier of Scorching Flames. This thing is so confusing to look at for me, and I don't know why. Grade 2 units have 5k shield, 10k base. Auto when this unit is placed on by your Vanguard. Well, it's placed on rear guard by your Vanguard's ability. Current boss 1 gets plus 5k ton of turn. Okay, so Chaos, Barrow. Trying to think of like every Dark States card that can call from anywhere to rear guard. Those are the only 2 I remember off the top of my head. I swear I'm forgetting one. Oh, Lukier, there's the other one. But I think that might be it. And then auto rear guard, this unit attacks, hits a Vanguard. If your Vanguard's a grade 4 or greater, counter charge 1. Okay, so I like how they're acknowledging the existence that you might use this with Griffogila, but has to be placed by Vanguard's ability, and you have to be a grade 4 or greater. Is there a grade 4? No, because the only ones that would fit Dark State's description. I mean, I guess for premium it would work, but you know what I mean. Like, as in D, I don't think there's a grade 4 or greater that can call this card by ability and then still have the, meet the requirements. I know I'm reading too much into this. Like, you don't have to be on a grade 4 or greater when you play that, but it does have to be played by Vanguard ability. I'm trying to find a way if there's a way to get, like, both out on the board at once, but I guess maybe not, or at least not for now. So, all around, it's not a bad card. Interesting numbers, and it's a countercharger, which is great. All Bushy throwing a Hail Mary into any Nirvana Jiva pile ever. But, yeah, it's not a bad card. Just, I don't know, 2 of 3 of it, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have much of an opinion on him. It, they, them, whatever.
And let's check out our final reviews for the day. First up, we have Silhouette Man, grade 0 boost, 5k shield, 6k base. It's just the standard starter, so it's not too special. Then we have Garter Silhouette. Auto, when it's placed on by riding from Silhouette Man. Search your deck for up to 1 Machinery's Factory Reveal. Put it to hand, shuffle your deck as a grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. All around, pretty interesting. First up, I just want to say I'm liking these arts so far. They look very clean with the whole Spaceman type of deal, and being able to search an order, okay, standard bracket thing, but what does that order do? Well, first up, it looks the most design out of all of them, in my opinion. Second up, Machinery's Factory, grade 1 set order, act order zone, rest this card, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with arms in its card name, from one of them, reveal it, put it to your hand. If your drop zone has the same card with the same name as that, and discard it if it does not. And if you put a card to your hand, you put this card to soul and shuffle your deck. So look at the top 7 and either send something to drop or send something to hand, and then if you send something to hand, get it to soul. Great. And then act order zone. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Silhouette in its card name, put this card to soul, choose up to 2 cards with armed and their different card names for your drop zone, call them to open rearguard circles. Okay, all around, it's not horrible. It can set up your drop zone, it can get you rear guards, it can technically allow for like board spamming, so all around it's not horrible. We only have 2 armed arms right now, but when we start getting more, this thing will start getting more powerful. So I don't know, I think this thing is worn of like a 3 of in a armed arms Silhouette Man deck, just because it can like search your orders, and or not search it can be searched, and then it can search like your main pieces in deck then. So easy 3 of, or maybe even 4 for me in like an arm deck. Speaking of which, we have our Armed Arms. Grade 2 Nissa 5k shield, 10k base. Armed Arms are auto Vanguard or Rearguard when this unit attacks a Vanguard. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Silhouette's card name, card plus 1, choose an opponent's grade 2 or greater Rearguard and kill it, and then this unit plus 5k for the battle. It was so close to being good because this says Vanguard or Rearguard, but it requires you to be at a grade 3 for some fucking reason. But I was literally about to say it's so great that this thing is allowing you to have alternate ride line targets. And it does technically, but it requires you to have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard, which means it can't proc off either way, but being able to kill an opponent's rear guard and get plus 5k out of it isn't bad, so easy 4, especially when we can search it with this. Also because it's on attack. Then we have Armed Arms L, grade 2 Nissa 5k shield, 10k base. Auto Vanguard Rearguard, this attacks of grade 3 or greater Vanguard. If you have Vanguard Silhouette's card, you can plus 1 to draw a card. Okay, it's nice that it can increase the hands just to counter boss when I draw a card. In my opinion, this one is better because it nukes rear guards and it still gets power out of it. But being able to draw cards is nice too, and they're kind of like the 2 Direful dolls from Tommy Yuri. You know how one gets the rearguard kill and the other one gets the draw, but in my opinion the rearguard kill is always better, but take that as you will. Then we have Caesar Silhouette, grade 2 5k shield, 10k base. Auto when wrote upon by Gigant Armed Silhouette, choose up to 2 cards with armed arms and their different cards for your drop zone. Call them to open rearguard circles. What was the skill? Does it have to be 2? Oh, so there's 2 cards in general, not just 2 cards different from the rearguard. So technically speaking, you can get out a bunch of these at once. But if only these things had boost, and I'm now realizing that we can start playing that. Order Refurbishment Darklight, like gives all your grade 2 units boost. I know I'm going to go try after this, because that's going to be a very interesting move, but being able to get 2 rear guards again for free is pretty nice. It's just I think this deck is going to focus on just spamming out a fuck ton of these things within the early game, otherwise you're kind of dead. But cool, nice card, too bad it doesn't have a rear guard ability, but it's a nice one of in the red deck. And then we have Gigant Armed Silhouette, grade 3 Jumper Star, 13k base. Auto Vanguard once per turn at the beginning of your attack step. Soul has 1, choose up to 2 of your rear guards with armed arms and each of their different card names and attach them to this unit. So move the attaching units to the Vanguard as stand. They cannot attack. The attached units get their power continues gets their power continuously, and they are moved to rearguard circles at rest at the end of the turn. So basically, if I'm understanding this correctly, Soul Blast 1, these two, or any other arms that they choose to print, move to the Vanguard Circle like Bas Vagra arms, and Silhouette over here will gain their consistent power. So like if you move both of those, he gets plus 20. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. And then Auto Vanguard, the end battle he attacked, choose up to one of your units attached to this unit and move it to an open rearguard circle stand. It is no longer attached after being removed. So I can get 4 attacks for free, which is pretty nice, and all it costs a simple Soul Blast to do pretty much everything that it does, which is nice. So as long as you are consistently pulling off these two, you're pretty much safe. And like I said, you can combine it with Refurbishment Dock to benefit from having a shit ton of grade 2s in your deck that can't normally boost each other. So all around it's not bad, and his art looks good. I am actually tempted to try this out because it's not a convoluted clusterfuck of a mess of a deck that I thought it was going to be. It's actually pretty simple and straightforward in my mind, so can't wait to try that one out. And then finally we have Bustling Mechanic Roacne, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, continues rearguard if you have Vanguard if your Vanguard attached this turn. I guess that's what this mechanic is going to be called then. This unit gets plus 10k power, so 18k base, and then auto backward rearguard circle. At the end of the battle, your Vanguard with Silhouette's card name attack to grace your guard Vanguard. If you have no former rearguards, Soul Blast 1 and stand this unit. Okay, so I think what this thing's going to try to do here is benefit from things that get rid of themselves at the end of the battle they attacked, so you can therefore stand it and then benefit from Silhouette skill. I don't know what cards in Brand K just leave the board once they attack, but there's probably something at least once, so Rodney's all around going to be persisting. All around, the deck looks great, and I actually can't wait to try this out because I really did think it was going to be super convoluted. In reality, it's very simple. So I'm going to end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed. In the next one, we are going to have reveals for Chaos, and we're going to have reveals for Vermilion, so I'll see you all then. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us, go to follow Twitch, and don't forget to stand up your Vanguards.